tattoo trends, I definitely have noticed that there's some really big regional differences, largely for the US. West Coast is definitely a lot of straight up realism, black and gray and color. And through the South you tend to see a lot more acceptance for super traditional kind of pieces. And then East Coast, a lot more acceptance of new school, and then the North is kind of like a new school and realism kind of balance. As far as like Europe and other countries outside of the US, there's definitely some really interesting balances between fusion kind of pieces with the black and gray and the color. Seeing a lot of trash polka kind of pieces, and just some really interesting ways that artists will find solutions to problems like the cost of ink over there is a lot different than it is over here. So you do see a lot of trends that kind of take that into account. A lot of combination with that black and gray, and some just really pretty kind of effects that you don't necessarily see over here. In addition to color realism, I do some black and gray also. I think living in Dallas, I tend to get a lot of requests for some straight up realism, but we definitely get a lot of fantasy kind of influences, and kind of not necessarily new school, but just some influences of that being directly in the middle of the country. So it's really cool to kind of pull that into my work and be able to play with the realism mixed with a lot of that fantasy and other kind of elements to it. I don't get asked just for portraits or just for straight up like, here's a portrait of my grandfather, can you just do it? A lot of people do ask for elements that are brought into it that aren't strictly realistic. Aspects of the personality of the portrait that might be like, my grandfather was a big fisherman, so I want to pull something else in there, and figuring out solutions to make the realism work with other aspects, or trying to bring in these other aspects and still make them work realistically with color on top of that. I'm Liz Cook, and thanks for watching.